training helped me a lot. I've been following you and I have really learned a lot from you. And you're like really like a trailblazer, which is so practical. It's so practical. And
My job is to serve you to the highest level. More importantly, to challenge you to grow, to challenge you to go, to challenge you to expand. Welcome. But the dreamers of the day, Gary, what did you say? They are dangerous. The dreamers of the day are dangerous. For them they act with the eyes wide open. And they, that was exactly couldn't have been what I am today without you both. And it helped me quite a lot. Having those that conversation in an inspired. I'm so blessed. I'm so blessed to say that.
before I introduce myself, I must remind you how one of your training helped me a lot. I've been following you and I have really learned a lot from you. And you're like really like a trailblazer, which is so practical. It's so practical. And
My job is to serve you to the highest level. More importantly, to challenge you to grow, to challenge you to go, to challenge you to expand. Welcome. But the dreamers of the day, Gary, what did you say? They are dangerous. The dreamers of the day are dangerous. For them they act with the eyes wide open. And they, that's possibly couldn't have been what I am today without you both. And it helped me quite a lot. Having difficult conversations in an inspired way.
I'm so blessed. I'm so blessed to say that. Before I introduce myself, I must remind you how one of your training helped me a lot. I've been following you and I have really learned a lot from you. And you're like really like a trailblazer, which is so practical. It's so practical. And
My job is to serve you to the highest level. More importantly, to challenge you to grow, to challenge you to go, to challenge you to expand. Welcome. dreamers of the day. Gary, what did you say? They are dangerous. The dreamers of the day are dangerous. But then they act with eyes wide open. And then that causing planet wouldn't have been what I am today without people and helped me quite a lot. Having those difficult conversations in an inspired way.
I am so blessed to say that. Before I introduce myself, I must remind you how one of your training helped me. I love it, following you, and I have really learned a lot from you. And you're really like a trailblazer, which is so practical. It's so practical, and
My job is to serve you to the highest level. More importantly, to challenge you to grow, to challenge you to go, to challenge you to expand. Welcome. But the dreamers of the day, Gary, what did you say? They are dangerous. The dreamers of the day are dangerous. But then they act on their dreams with eyes wide open. And then that causing planet wouldn't have been what I am today without people and helped me quite a lot. Having those difficult conversations in an inspired way.
I am so blessed to say that. Before I introduce myself, I must remind you how one of your training helped me. I love it, following you, and I have really learned a lot from you. And you're really like a trailblazer, which is practical. It's so practical, and
My job is to serve you to the highest level. More importantly, to challenge you to grow, to challenge you to go, to challenge you to expand. Welcome. But the dreamers of the day, Gary, what did you say?
They are dangerous. The dreamers of the day are dangerous.
But then they act on their dreams with eyes wide open. And then that causing planet wouldn't have been what I am today without people and it helped me quite a lot. Having those difficult conversations in an inspired.
I am so blessed to say that. Before I introduce myself, I must remind you how one of your training helped me. I love it, following you, and I have really learned a lot from you. And you're really like a trailblazer, which is so practical. It's so practical, and
My job is to serve you to the highest level. More importantly, to challenge you to grow, to challenge you to go, to challenge you to expand. Welcome.
Hey, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to day 2, right? Welcome to day 2. Welcome, everyone. Just let me know. Oh, you guys, thank you so much. I'm looking at the numbers online, and today I am extremely humbled. So humbled that, oh yeah, we're recording now. Yeah, I am extremely humbled that you guys, you beautiful women are going to be spending the next 1 hour with me learning how to thrive in this season where most women are actually going downhill with ailments, aches, in the name of menopause. And it doesn't have to be like that. And you and you guys, all of you, I am so delighted that you're here because it shows your proactivity. You are a proactive woman, professional woman, proactive about your wellness. Because you and I know that we cannot leave our wellness to chance. That is just not happening. Because what happens when we leave things to chance? Goes downhill. Remember, when we were doing the pre-workshop, I talked about the law of gravity. If we don't do nothing, if we don't do anything, everything goes downhill. And if we are wanting to go uphill, we cannot leave it to chance, right? So today is day 2, and the topic for Hot Flashes Be Gone, today the topic is returning to being a beautiful, well woman. Returning to being a beautiful, well woman. Yesterday, we talked about the mindset, the menopause mindset. And thank you guys for all the mind-blowing, moments that you had and the response that I had from you. I am so delighted to imagine that our research over here, our experiences over here are actually opening everyone else's mind to realize we do not have to suffer. The mindset we've had in the past is, oh, it's just the way things are. So we just have to go with it. We just have to struggle. We just have to suffer. It's just the hormones. We are changing that. And those of you who are here yesterday, and if you watched the replay, you know that we as women, we as proactive professional women are able to recalibrate and to reclaim and to reign over our homes, right? And that should excite you. That excites me, right? There is a question that I received from a lot of you. And you are saying, how is it? How can we truly reign over our hormones? It's just biological. It's just the way you are. And that question, we're going to be answering it in our VIP backstage because it involves what we call epigenetics. That is beyond genetics. This shows you how you as a human being has so much power. Yesterday, I spoke about us being electromagnetic beings. And what does that mean? Electro means the way we think and the way we feel speaks to every cell of our body. And that's where you should be getting excited because it means our thoughts and therefore our feelings have the ability to influence our wellness. I get excited when I think about this. In fact, later on, I'm going to be taking you through an exercise called the attitude of gratitude exercise. And this exercise is a game changer. Some of you that lose sleep, some of you that don't get good sleep, you start practicing this and you are off to having that good night's sleep. that you've been missing for ages in the name of, oh, it's just menopause. It's just the way it is at this season. No, it's not the way it is at this season. We are taking reign. We are reclaiming our wellness. We are becoming the women we were destined to be. We are becoming thriving, productive women in this stage where 90% think the only way is downhill. Not for us. No, no, no. Right? Yesterday, I spoke about the lies of society and the knocks and the, everything that pushes us around and to this kind of thinking that is diminishing, that keeps us following the masses. And therefore, if the masses are in the struggle zone or in the struggle camp, we join in there. But no, 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 because you're here, you're learning another way. We are listening to a different drama. Now, before I start sharing my slides, because today I have some slides, because I want to show you a 5-step to returning to being a beautiful, well woman. Yesterday, I spoke about all of us women are born beautiful, well women. But through the knocks of life, the conditioning of life, the lies of life, we become unwell. And we accept unwellness as our lot. But we are changing that. I said to you yesterday, my promise is, by the end of these 5 days, you will believe without a doubt that you too can be not just beautiful, not just a woman, but a beautiful, well woman. If this can be for one, it can be for you too, right? Life is no respecter of persons, right? So if some people can be well, whole, and thrive in this season, why not you? Why not you, right? So for most of you, especially those who are subscribed to our email, you already received the worksheet about what does wellness look and feel to you. And we're going to be addressing that. But I'd like you to remove your notebook. And again, those of you who have been in communication with me, who signed up, you have your workbook. And if you haven't, I implore you to just make sure you write notes somewhere, because you will want to reread them. You will want to re-listen to this. And if you're watching on replay, I mean, right now we are live, but if you're watching on replay, I want you to pause this and first of all, download that worksheet that I gave you and then begin to write. Whew, I'm excited. What I want to say, when I spoke about the knocks and the breaks and the bruises of life, some people said, surely menopause is about hormones. It's not about what has happened in your life, right? In psychology, we know that. In fact, there is a research from Harvard that showed that women, girls, and young women who have experienced any sort of adverse experiences that causes trauma, they suffer more aggressively in menopause than women who have not experienced such adverse experiences. Now, a lot of people will say, oh, I have not experienced anything tragic. No, I haven't had any sort of sexual abuse or any sort of physical abuse or any sort of, when we talk about adverse experiences, people think in terms of drastic forms of abuse. But I want you to listen in. And I want to show you how each one of us, as a girl, as a young woman, may have been in experiences that traumatized us. Those experiences that made you feel less than. Experiences that made you feel that you have to compare yourself with another person. Experiences that made you feel you have to compete with another person because you don't feel enough. Those experiences that made you feel you have to be perfectionist. Otherwise, you will not be wanted. Those are all traumatic experiences. And we know that traumatic experiences distort the working of the brain. And here we come. The hormones that we produce, where do they come from? They're emitted from our brains, right? Are you seeing where the distortion comes? Yesterday, someone questioned, how is it that you're saying that these things that have happened, the knocks and the lies of life are the ones that, yes, because they do. Traumatic experiences. Some of them are so subtle. Some traumatic experiences are so subtle. And I'll give you an example. For example, are you a people pleaser? Do you know that is a response, is a trauma response? Where you want to be, you want to keep peace. You want everything to be okay at all times. You're afraid if everything is not okay. So you run around making sure that everything is okay. And it's not from a place of peace, but from a place of angst, from a place of fear. A lot of our traumatic experiences are very subtle. And I challenge you to find me one girl who has never experienced an adverse experience or a traumatic experience. And none of us can decide what is trauma for another because we are different. We are different people, right? Our resilience is different. And a lot of people, because especially women, we've been told to suck it up and smile. Suck it up and smile. And I'll go to as far as saying, especially we Black people, oh no, you cannot be seen to be weak. But inside, we are crumbling. We are crumbling. We are crumbling. We are holding in things, and we are living inauthentic lives. We are smiling. We've got lovely pulled out hair, right? But if someone was to open the curtains, the injuries in there are almost unexplainable. But why do we do that? Because the society expects us to be, oh, you can't talk about that. This is a taboo topic. This is what, this is what. And we talked about that yesterday. Now, we put up with all that. And then the body is having to put up with all this toxic stress on ourselves. And then in menopause, it all comes out. Remember yesterday I spoke about psychosomatic illnesses? Why is it that loads of women are having these aches? And I said, you would understand if I fell down and broke my leg. You would understand why my knee is hurting. But why are our ankles, our knees, our necks, our elbows, like every part of our body hurting? And it's not from injuries. Do you see where we are going? So there's a lot of trauma processing that we need to do. Now, this is going to require a journey. And right now, I'm just about to show you the 5-step journey that we as proactive professional women, if we want to thrive in our menopause, we're gonna have to start doing this. Now, mark here, we cannot return back. However, we can return forward and go back. And I'll show you right now. In fact, let me start sharing my screen right now. I'm feeling excited, right? I'm feeling absolutely excited right now. All right, I'm sharing. Can you see that? Let me know if you can see that. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you. Oh, welcome. Welcome, Lisa. Welcome, Shiko. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I can see you calling from all over the place. So excited. Thank you. Thank you, Lydia. Thank you, Sila. Thank you. Let me thank you, all of you, and then get on with the session because there is quite a bit to cover. And I want to respect you and I want to honor you for your time, the time you're spending being here. Because I tell you what, remember yesterday we talked about small steps. And I spoke about, behind here, I have a door, a big door. It's a fire door. And it has 2 hinges, 2 small hinges. It's a big door, but it swings on small hinges. Small hinges can swing big doors. So the ideas that you're hearing today, they might sound simple and small steps, but boy, do they transfer, do they transform us into the beautiful, well women that we indeed were designed to be. I'm excited. You know, I get excited about talking women wellness, and some of you guys, you know, we've experienced me also as a parenting mentor, because I know that when we as women are well, that trickles down to our families, to the community, right? Well women create well societies, right? And that's why we need to take back our reign. We need to know our positions of power as women. And that does not mean you're going ruling about anyone else. That's not it. It's about reigning over us, because if we can be well and whole, we influence others by the quality of our example. We become proof of concept. Proof of concept. And what does that mean? I am like this. In psychology, we say that personal evidence, it's, like the best research is your own personal evidence. When you've experienced something, it's not something you've heard, but something you've experienced. You cannot unexperience it. It is stamped in every cell of your body, right? And that's what we're trying to do here, helping you experience, encounter how it feels to returning to be a beautiful, well woman. And yesterday I talked about all women are beautiful, but not all of us are well, because we've been knocked by the stresses and the lies of life. Now, as you can see, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's the steps. I'm just going to read them quickly, although I know you can read them. But actually, instead of reading, let's go around. So, we all, as young kids, young girls, begin as beautiful, well women. And then what happens? We begin to receive the knocks, the stresses, the lies of life. This is how traumatic experiences begin to happen. And I want you to listen, and I don't want you to jump up and say, oh, well, I was not in an abusive family. I was not. Trauma can be so subtle. Trauma can be so subtle. And sometimes it's not even what people do to you. It is what they deny and not do to you and for you. For example, I have met people who are not beaten, who are not abused, who was not verbally abused, who are not sexually abused. However, they were denied the hugs, the emotional support, the acknowledgement, and that has caused wounds, hurt wounds. They are hurting. Why? Because as human beings, especially as children, we want to be told that we are valued. We want to be told that we are enough. We want to be told that we belong. But when someone pushes you, and a lot of times it's because they don't know what to do. And as you and I know, it's impossible for anyone, even our carers, our parents, it's impossible for anyone to give you what they do not have. So at some point in life, we just have to allow it and let it go. And this is what we call forgiveness. And now, don't start saying, oh, I'm preaching forgiveness. It's a religious thing here. No, that's not what it is. We'll speak about that further. So the nooks and the stresses and the lies of life begin to affect us. And then our wellness is affected. And then we go to stage 3. Now, most of us over 45 are struggling with ailments, aches, bizarre behavior. Do you know what? I don't even want to start naming them here, but yesterday, one of the women said to me, you need to straight out talk about these symptoms of menopause, right? I'm sure, ladies, women, lovely, beautiful women, I want you to write these down. Write them on the chat, on whichever platform you're watching. Please write them down. Write the hot flashes. Write the vaginal dryness. Write the aches, joint aches. Write the chills. Write them down. Write the night sweats. Woo, I remember those night sweats at some point. My God, right? Thankfully, it doesn't happen anymore. And I will tell you why it doesn't happen anymore. And when I spoke to you about proof of concept, one of the things I have learned as an educator, as a psychologist, I have learned, yes, there is research, but I have learned to put the research into action so that I can get my own transformation, then share it with people so that when I'm speaking about a concept, I know that I know, not because I have read in a book. And research is magnificent because we can't experience everything. But I love to actually try things out and see, is this the truth? And I would encourage you to try the same things as well. If someone tells you something, test it, try it. We are told to try concepts, evaluate for yourself, right? So these aches, ailments, let's continue putting them down, right? Continue writing them down. Loss of hair, right? Dry skin, right? Or nausea. Come on, ladies, we know this bizarre behavior, anger, like mood swings, and interestingly, at around this time, a lot of us are raising our teenagers and young people, and our young people are behaving about the same way that we are behaving as well, right? Which is, let's not even go there. Let's not even go to the parenting part of it. So thank you for listing all these ailments. Thank you, they're coming in, and I'm excited that you guys know them. And why do we know them? Because we experience them. But are they fun? Not at all. Yesterday, I shared about the day I was doing a presentation, and I was about to lift my arms up like this so that I could help the audience open up their, I was doing an exercise that helps open. And that's when that hot flash hit me. And I couldn't do that exercise because I could feel the sweat seeping, like it's such an embarrassment. It's not that I was anxious, but again, it's those hot flashes and you don't know when they're going to catch you. So a lot of women learn to wear baggy stuff. So we resort to not wearing what we want to wear because we are afraid of what's going to happen, because we feel, we have no control of what's going to happen, right? Or we resign to wearing, some people even resign to not doing the jobs they are doing. Do you know 10% of women in menopause leave work? 10% of women in menopause, they leave work. 90%, of course, they are struggling with all these illnesses. Can you imagine feeling that you can't be bothered to be at that work? You're there, but if I don't stay on, I'm not going to get paid. So you stay on begrudgingly. You're angry at everyone. You're so unhappy. Why? Why does it have to be that way? Can you imagine at this age when we can be the most productive, have a spring in our feet, like jumping like deers, because our kids are grown. Most of us, our kids are grown. So it's not like we are looking after little kids. We have more freedom. Yet, with this freedom that we have, now we are like slaves to our own hormones because they are running havoc and terrorizing us. Women, we can do better. I'll tell you something. When I learned about this research about women, girls, and young people who have experienced trauma are more likely to suffer with aggressive menopausal symptoms than any other woman. Do you know, most of you know my story, my origin story, how I grew up in a very an extremely impoverished as well as an abusive family. And then after that, I would end up in an abusive relationship, right? So for me, you can imagine the trauma in me, right? And then I learned that women that have experienced trauma are likely to suffer with aggressive menopausal symptoms. That's when I said, I've got to do something. That means I am going to be a statistics in the 90%. If I don't do something, if I don't learn ways of mitigating or ways of changing my brain, recalibrating my trauma, coming to terms. The thing is, we can't change what has happened. No one can change anything that has happened. You can't change what you ate for lunch, if that's assuming you ate lunch. You can't change it, it just is. However, we can change what happens from now on. And for most of us, is about getting authentic with ourselves. What has happened to me? Where have I been injured, bruised? Because if we don't do that, what happened to us happened to us. Now, as adults, we have reign over ourselves. But if we don't do anything, we continue in that struggle. We continue to enter into that struggle camp. And now we are suffering even more and then saying, oh, it's just the season. But let me ask you something. If it's true, it's just the season, why is it that other women are not suffering? Why is it that other women are not suffering? And I know I have spoken with some women who defend this concept of it's just the way things are, it's just the hormones. And here is what I say. You have the option to recalibrate. You have our brains, which produces our hormones, are able to change. We can change the way we think about things. And when we change the way we think about things, the things we think about change. Yesterday, when I said about we as human beings, the way we think, electro, the way we feel, magnetic beings, how they influence every cell of our bodies. That should make you know that you are powerful. I am powerful. I am powerful. You are powerful. And for some of you, this might sound like a strange concept. I've never heard this. But it is. That's why some people live well lives, and others, because they don't know, they don't have the well lives. And here's the thing. Again, lies of society. We've been conditioned that our helps come from those other, comes from the healthcare, it comes from the government, it comes from this plus all sorts of places. So what do? Oh, when I'm not feeling well, my first place to seek is out there. Who can give me something? And that's why I say this community is not about magic pills or microwave solutions. It's about looking within ourselves and changing our neurocirculatory system, literally our brain, and we can. And for those of you who think this is a strange concept, right? I want you to think there is a verse in the Bible. I like to refer to that. And I'll come to you if you're a scientist and possibly don't believe in the Bible. It's okay. We are all here. I am a scientist as well, so we'll come to you, right? There is a verse in the Bible that says, hold every thought captive. Hold every thought captive. Why? Because if you don't, it becomes a feeling. And remember what I said? Thoughts and feelings affect our health, our cells, right? So when we understand who we truly are, how powerful we are, and we hold those, the way we think and talk about ourselves changes. You know, everything that we have been told begins to fall apart. We're like, wait a minute, I can begin to go back, to go to being a beautiful, well woman. Yesterday, I gave the example of a 50-pound note. And I said, no matter how bruised, battered, dirtied and thrown all over the place it is, the value remains a 50-pound note. Its tender value remains. And so it is with you as a woman, and so it is with me as a woman. But when we are so unwell, we don't even realize our value, right? We don't even realize our value. But this is where we are coming back to, we are getting there. And I believe by the end of these 5 days, you will begin to say that if someone else can do, I actually must do this. And you're going to say, it's crazy if I don't do this. I must do this. I must put myself out there and be my own proof of concept as a beautiful, well woman defying the odds. I'm going to leave that 90% who are going downhill struggling, and I'm going to enter into this thriving camp, because that is what life did not make us to come and struggle and suffer. That's not That's not what it is. And yesterday I talked about, as women, being conditioned that to be in pain on a constant, as like that is normal. It's not normal. And I agree, sometimes pain, expecting a gain is okay. But pain for nothing, what is it? What is it? And how can you and I be used as vessels of life if if we are unwell, right? I should have brought some water here. I think I'm getting excited. But here is when things begin to change. This is when things begin to change. When you get sick and tired of being sick and tired. I'll tell you something. Some people are happy to struggle and suffer. And they'll tell you they're not happy about it. But if it's true that you're not comfortable in your suffering, why would someone choose to stay there? Why would someone choose to stay there? And I believe yesterday I spoke about a quote I had from Jim Rohn, and he said, change only happens, I'm paraphrasing it, change only happens when we get to the day of disgust. When you're so disgusted with the way you're living, you're saying something has to change. That is the day change happens. Before then, you're happy to stay in matterhood. You're happy to stay as pain as your identity. You're happy to blame the system. You're happy to blame the healthcare system. You're happy to blame the hormones. You're happy to blame everyone that caused you all the pain. But when you get sick and tired of being sick and tired, which I believe you beautiful women here, you're at that point, you're like, surely there must be a way. Now this is what happens. You begin to take charge. And that's why you're here today, because you're listening to credible information and you want to take action so that you don't go downhill with the rest of the women that are going downhill. And I say that, these menopause symptoms, they are crazy. They are a menace, but they don't kill us. They don't kill us. They just make you suffer. They are chronic pains, bizarre behavior, it makes you so, sometimes even almost antisocial, right? Because of what's happening in you, right? So we begin, we have to come to a point, and you guys are right here when you are beginning to take charge. And this is exactly the point. You are listening to credible information. And I believe you're going to be taking action, because in a minute, I'm going to be taking you through an exercise, which is called the attitude of gratitude exercise. It's so powerful. It's so powerful. And like I said earlier, if you've been losing sleep and not sleeping well, try this. It's yours for free, but it takes self-work, right? It's simple. It's simple. And like so many truths, they are simple. So people just tend, oh, what is this? How is this going to help? Right? Remember we talked about small hinges swing big doors, right? So when you begin to take charge, like you're doing right now, listening to credible information and taking action, I'm going to introduce you to the 6 element system. Now, this is going to be tomorrow. Tomorrow, I ask you to come with yourself and your colleagues, your friends, everyone. This system, everyone needs to hear. You know, you've heard people say to you, oh, if you want your menopause belly to go, all you need to do is eat well and exercise. You know, human beings, our bodies as humans, we are complex. So what we need are another complex system to help us thrive. And when I say complex, I don't mean hard. It doesn't have to be hard. As you will find out, it's not a hard system. This 6-element system, it's so easy, but it has to be used integratively. Each element is so important because it interacts with each other. Now, this, I believe you all beautiful women here are in this stage 4. Stage 4, you have realized I am sick and tired of being sick and tired. So I'm beginning to take charge. And when we begin to take charge, when we begin to implement the 6-element system, this is what happened. Oh, clap for yourself. You master the concepts and you begin to master you. Begin to master yourself. And mastery means staying the course, because you and I know that when we develop habits can take a long time. In fact, in psychology, we know for us to change habits, it takes about 63 days. You know, I don't know who came up with this 21 days to change a habit, but for an overhaul of our thinking and our neurocircuitry system to actually have permanence, it takes about 63 days, right? So it requires mastery and staying the course, practicing, returning to beautiful, well woman. Now, I'll stop sharing that and let's come back to here. I felt so good sharing that, right? And right now, I want you to envision your goal as a beautiful, well woman. What does that look like? What does that feel like? What does that look like? What does that feel like? Right? What does that? And I want you on your note sheet to begin to write. Just write what comes in your head. What does it look like? Don't be afraid and don't be mild. Don't be, oh, I can't say that. I can't say that I would love as a 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 60-year-old woman to actually get up with absolutely no pain in my body, in my bones, like I'm springing like a teenager, right? I would love my skin to glow, not because I have pasted makeup on myself. I would love my skin to glow from within. I would love to have vigor instead of this lethargy. How does that feel? How does that look? I want you to take a moment and envision that. I want you to start thinking, if I am operating from the position of a beautiful, well woman, how does my hair look like? How does my skin look like? How do my eyes? How do my teeth? How does my breathing? How is my hearing? How is my skin? How is my neck? Think, like, go from the top of your head down to the tip of your toes. Every bit of your body. Envision. If you're operating from this beautiful, well woman status, how are you feeling? How does that feel like? How does, imagine how a baby is agile, not concerned about what people think. Yesterday, I talked about getting up and feeling I'm ready for the day and looking at yourself in the mirror, even before you wash yourself, and looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, "Hoops, I am beautifully and wonderfully made. Look at this." And it's not for someone else, but for you. How does wellness look to you and feel for you? Right? So right now, I'm going to take you through an exercise. And this is your exercise for today. Just to break the session before we go to the other bits, which are going to be preparation and provision to show you. I've shown you the 5 steps, but how do you actually do that? I'll show you that right after this exercise. I want you to have a little breath, like breathe in, right? And then I want you to envision just hold on a minute. Oh, guess what happened? You guys, I've got to tell you this. I think daughter was trying to knock on the door, but she knows I'm in this meeting. And I know there's no emergency. But then what she's done, she has slid a note under the door. And I think she heard me say that I should have carried water, and that I was feeling a bit thirsty. And look, I'll show you what she's done. This is this is so lovely. I have to share. I know it's not part of the session, but I have to share this because we are doing life together. This is life, right? Can you see that? She's written, "I left warm water on the banister for you. Love, D, love and kiss, D." Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that beautiful? And just to honor her, right? Let me just pop out and just speak it. It's going to be just 1 second, right? We're doing life together, right? Oh, thank you so much, Kitty. Love you. Love you. Thank you. Oh, you guys, that is so good, isn't it? I am so blessed. And I pass that blessings to all of you. I am so thankful. That's my teenage daughter that just did that. And sometimes those are the little blessings that we know that we have in life. I'm so thankful. I'm just going to take you through this. It's actually called the Attitude of Gratitude exercise. And this is something I want you to do right now. But I want you to practice especially before you go and sleep. And I'll tell you why. A few minutes before you go to sleep, your attitude and the thoughts that you have in you is what marinates all night. Remember, we talked about the thoughts and the feelings, how they affect your cell. I know you're beginning to understand this now. I can see you guys are getting excited. Now, let's do the exercise. Holding your head from the top of your head, I want you to say that I am grateful for my hair. I am grateful for my scalp. I am grateful for my skin on my face. I'm grateful for my eyebrows. I'm grateful for my eyes. As you do this, I want you to breathe in. I am grateful for my cheeks. I'm grateful for my nose and the fact that I can breathe in and out. I am grateful for my cheeks, my chin. I am grateful for my teeth. I am grateful for my throat. The fact that it is well, my throat is well. I am grateful for my neck. I'm grateful for my shoulders. I am grateful for my arms. I am grateful for my biceps, my arms, my fingers. You know, I'm grateful for my breasts. They are well. I'm grateful for my ribs. They are well. I'm grateful for my tummy. It is well. I'm grateful for my back. It is well. I'm grateful for my liver. It is well. I am grateful for my intestines. They are well. I'm grateful for my spleen. I am so grateful for my pelvic area. I'm grateful for my vagina. I am grateful for my backside. I'm grateful for my thighs. I'm grateful for my knees. I am grateful for my calves, my legs. I am grateful for my ankles. And I am grateful for my feet. And I am grateful for my toes. I am grateful for every part of my body. The parts that I can see and also the parts that I cannot see. I am grateful. I am grateful. I am grateful. And you can also say, it is well. I am grateful. It is well. I am grateful for my fingers. They are well. I am grateful for my palms. They are well. Like, start from the top of your body to the bottom of your toe, to the tip of your toes. You know, just doing that. Remember what we said, that your cells listen to you. And when you speak life to them, what do you think happens? They begin to vibrate, to become alive. You know, the power of your tongue, you know, the power of life is in your tongue. Remember I talked about your thoughts and your feelings affects our cells. So now that may sound like an easy and simple exercise, but it's so healing, it's so wholesome. And here is the interesting thing. Now that I'm fully awake, I can actually go from the top to the toes, right? When you're going to sleep, you breathe in and start. Most of the nights, I do this every night, but most of the nights I'll possibly just get to the neck. And then tomorrow I'll start from my shoulders down to the breast, to the tummy bit, and then I'm gone. I sleep. And then the next day I start from just make sure that you're rotating through your body. You're blessing yourself as you go to sleep. You're speaking life. And as you do that, what you're doing is you are reforming the neurons. How you think about yourself. You are sending a new language, a new life to every cell of your body. That way, You don't have to look for healing and wellness everywhere else. It's right within you. It's right within you. Did you know that every human being has about 50 to 80 trillion cells? And every cell has what we call the God code. In Christian circle, they call it Emmanuel. But we, as scientists, we know that there is God eternal within the body. There's a 5-letter code within each cell. So when you speak life to it, it becomes life. It becomes alive. And what we are doing is we are reclaiming, we are regenerating all the negative language that has been spoken that has made us unwell, right? So I want you to think that is your goal, to return to beautiful, well woman. Your goal, I know you wrote it down. Remember I said write it down. What do you see yourself? How well do you see yourself, right? Right? So, as we almost coming to an end, we have the goal. And for us to achieve that goal, if you were going for a journey, you would know where you're going, right? And you would need to prepare, and you would also need provision for the journey. So preparation. How do you prepare yourself for this journey to wellness that you are taking, that you are about to take? Preparation. What preparations are we going to have? This is something we're going to be talking about tomorrow. Remember, we spoke about the 6-element system. We're going to be covering it tomorrow. You will hear ideas and concepts that will completely blow your mind away. And it's not because you've never heard them. You will hear them and they will sink deep into your psyche like it's never sunk before. Why? Because we've been given them in very disjointed ways, like I said, exercise, food, eat well, sleep well, or, I do not know of someone who has integrated them as well as you're going to hear tomorrow. Even myself, when I read them and look at them, I'm like, wow. When you say things are hidden in plain sight, I'm sure that's the feeling a lot of people have. And I'm sure that's what's going to happen to you. And I want you to be here to correct me if I'm wrong, right? So in this journey, returning to beautiful, well woman's status, you will need preparation and you will need provision. How do you prepare? What will you need along the journey? And just quickly before we finish, what we will need first and foremost is being intentional. How intentional are you? You hear the word intentional being thrown all over the place. Oh, I'm intentional. Intentional is shown by where you direct your energy and your resources. How intentional are you to becoming well? A lot of people say, oh, well, health is wealth. And then they go their way, right? They go on their way, right? But how much do you know that truly health is wealth? When I speak to organizations, you hear how much they are losing, billions of pounds. The other day, I was looking at the figures. The UK loses about 10 billion from menopause, absenteeism and presenteeism, menopause related ailments. The US is like $27 billion. Okay, forget the companies losing. What are you losing yourself as a person? Because sometimes we might say, oh, the companies, they've got a lot of money, they can lose that, it's okay. But you as a person, what are you losing by being ill, by being unwell? Let's get back to like proper basics. Are you living the life you know that you're destined for? When you're aching, how adventurous can you be when your body is constantly aching? How creative can you be? Because when you're aching and in ailment, the body is in survival mode. And when the body is in survival mode, you can't create, you can't be curious. It's impossible to be happy. Is that the life, really? And by the way, we're not here to make anyone feel bad. We are here to open our eyes to, there is another way. There is another way for those of us who are willing. If you're willing to thrive, to spring and enjoy your life. Because these days, we are living to, people are living to 90, 80. Now, if you're suffering, if I'm suffering, I'm 47, if I'm suffering at 47, if my back is hurting, if my knees are hurting, if my ankles are hurting, if my shoulders are hurting on a chronic basis, and I'm supposed to live until I'm 90, right? What quality of life is that? And that's why I'm encouraging us as women. We have to take our own self-care into our hands. And I often say, I'm sure those of you in my community have heard me say that the problem is not the healthcare system, it's the self-care system. People being unwilling to do what we must do to become well, right? Because when you're well, when you are well, you can do exploits. You can do exploits, Even your relationships improve. No one, let's be honest, right? No one likes to be around a mourning, achy person all of the time. And especially, and I'm not saying that people cannot be sick. Yes, people get sick, and we 100% empathize with people who are sick, acute illnesses that have been caused by various things. I'm talking about menopause symptoms that keep us stuck, like your anger outbursts. How are those helping your relationships? When we have, like, for example, our own sexual dysfunctions because we are in this stage, how is that helping us with our relationships, right? When we have, when we can't go for, mountain climbing, if we used to love mountain climbing or adventures, how is that improving I could go on and on, but this is not the space to make anyone feel, oh, I have failed, or feel guilty, or feel shame. No, that's not what this is about. This is to encourage us to think a different way about the season we are in. We don't have to suffer unnatural symptoms in a natural season. What has happened is, because all of us women We once used to have periods. Now the periods are stopping so that we can move to a different season in life. Why is it that we must suffer? Why? Why is it? Who said it has to be that way? And it's not. It doesn't have to be that way. So it requires intentionality and a willingness to change our mindset. We must detach from all the negativity we've had about who we as women must be. Another thing it requires is it requires us wanting to have self-work. Self-work. It is not about someone else providing a solution. It is within me. It is within me. The pill that you're looking for, your body, your own body, is its own pharmacy. In fact, a lot of these drugs that we run around for, our bodies are able to produce those. What the drugs companies do, they emulate what is happening to our bodies, right? They emulate, oh, this is the hormone, this is the concoction that happens, but our bodies in the right state, in the right state of ease. Remember yesterday I talked about dis-ease? When you having dis-ease, that means your body is not at ease. But when your body is at ease, it's able to provide these hormones that serve us, because we are meant for expansion. We're not meant for decline. Life is about expanding, about flourishing, about exposing itself, about it's flamboyant. So why can we not be like that for years and years to come? It sometimes saddens me to imagine that, people living with chronic illnesses for years and years and years and years. Yet, there's a lot of research, a lot of interventions showing that it doesn't have to be that way. And again, we're going to be going deeper into that. And those of you that are coming, oh yeah, before I forget, I'm going to talk about our VIP sessions. Our VIP backstage starts tomorrow. And some of these questions that you have, we're going to be answering them there. And this is what I said. As you listen to this lesson, I know you're beginning to open your mind, and a lot of questions are coming up. As much as a lot of questions are being answered, you're opening your eyes up to more questions. And that is what happens with expansion. It's like spirals out. It spirals out. The more you know, the more you ask, the more you know, the more you ask, the more you know, the more you ask. And that's what expansion is about. And I'm excited for you. So again, in the journey to returning to being a beautiful, well woman, you will need to be intentional. So ask yourself, how intentional am I? How committed am I to this? Because it requires commitment. Changing the mind is not an easy task. It's simple, but it's not an easy task. Why? Because habits die hard. For example, I just talked about the menopause belly, and we know as women, as we enter these ages, right? Our body's metabolism lowers, and we need less food to keep us operating. Yet, because we've been eating a certain amount of food for the longest time, we continue to do that out of habit, not out of necessity, not out of serving ourselves, but out of habit. And then, and that's what happened to me. I wondered, in fact, I was sitting with this coach one time and I said, I don't understand why my belly is getting rounder and rounder. Yet I eat well and I exercise. And I was like, no, I don't understand. And they sat there and they looked at me and they asked me, do you want me to be 100% real? And I said, please, I want you to be 100% real. I am willing to do whatever it takes, because I can't be walking like this, like a kangaroo. No, I don't want this. This is not nice for me. And I'm talking about me. I don't want this. It is not good for me. It's not healthy for me. I don't want it. I had to come to a point, we have to be authentic with ourselves. Yeah, body, loving our bodies doesn't mean we don't do anything about it, or you just accept how you are and you don't do anything about it, which is something a lot of people preach, or just the way you are. It's true, love yourself just the way you are. But that doesn't mean if I have a broken finger, I just love myself the way I am, so I don't go to the hospital and get it fixed. So anyway, let me carry on with my belly thing, my menopause belly. So they said to me, do you want me to show you exactly what's happening within your body? I said, yes, please. And you know what? They showed me the most disgusting picture I have ever seen. And that, I wish I could share it here with me. I don't have it here, but I once shared it on social media, right? It showed, yes, just me, but the disgusting layer of fat around the belly, it was disgusting. And that's when I decided, no, I've got to do something. This is not healthy for me. And because of that, that was causing other issues, other problems. And I won't go too much detail with that. And whilst we're there, I want to talk about support, because in this journey of returning to being a beautiful, well woman, it's impossible to do it alone. Well, let me not say it's impossible. Actually, you can do it alone, but you have to be so intentional. You have to be so determined. You have to do so much self-work. But if you're like me, I like to accelerate my results. And that's why I speak to coaches, the right coaches, and say, I want to get these results. How can I do this? So support is very, very important to me. And also for inspiration, and also for accountability. It's very important. So in this journey of returning to beautiful, well woman status, you will need to be extremely intentional and committed, a lot of self-work, right? And support. Does that sound like hard work? Maybe. Does that sound like some sort of pain? Maybe. But remember your goal. What is your goal? How well do you want to be? So we're going to come to an end, wrap it up here, because actually we've gone a little bit past the time, and I honor you for sticking on. And I am so, I'm so grateful that you stayed on and invested every second to have this conversation with me. And thank you for all the responses that you are sending. Some of them I can see them on some platforms. Some of them I cannot. I will look at them later and I will definitely respond. And obviously you can also email me or just respond in any of the platforms that wherever you're watching, and we will respond. Now, we've done one exercise today, because I believe in taking action so that we can get the transformation. Now, each one of you have this self-work, a note sheet. And those of you who are in the VIP, you have the book. I want you, for day 2, I want you to write down the self-work. The self-work. And the self-work is going to be, remember that attitude of gratitude exercise? I want you to practice that tonight before you go to sleep and just record it. Just say that I have done the attitude of gratitude exercise. And then, if you're still awake after you've done it, I want you to record where it says a step forward, the step forward that you have taken. I want you to say, I did the step forward. And then just describe what you did. And also just describe what it made you feel. That is your assignment for today. And remember, that is for you to keep in this journey of becoming a beautiful, well woman. We're going to require to do a few things on a daily. And that brings us to the end of our session today. Tomorrow, I know most of you have been asking, oh, can you tell us these 6 elements? Tomorrow is going to be fire, like fire. It's going to be fire on fuel, right? So I want you to bring yourself and another person, because they need to hear this. And actually, before they hear this, encourage them to watch day 1, which was yesterday, menopause mindset. And obviously today, returning to becoming a beautiful, well woman. And then tomorrow we do the 6-element system. The 6-element system. This is where we get down onto exactly what are these elements? What are these elements that I must put together to return to this being a beautiful, well woman? So thank you so much for today. I am so delighted, so grateful, and I will see you tomorrow on our day 3 of Hot Flashes Be Gone. And tomorrow our topic is going to be the 6-element system. And today we have learned how to return. We learned the 5 steps to returning to becoming a beautiful, well woman. So thank you so much for investing in your time. Thank you so much for being here. And I want to hear your comments, and so much love for you guys. Bye-bye now.